Alright, hey everyone, Frank from New York here, just going to show you how to change the light bulb in a Mercedes Benz S550 and the year is 2009. Alright, we're just going to change the headlamp, which is the low lamp, okay, on the vehicle here. Now I've already changed the one on the driver's side, and later on in this video I'm going to basically just give you tips on what to do and more importantly what not to do when changing the bulb, okay, just from my experience and what I would do different knowing what I know now. Alright, but let's just change for the first time. We're going to change this low lamp here. Now just so you know, Mercedes Benz wants $232 just for this bulb, okay? That's a lot of dough, okay? That bulb also needs to be installed, and most likely you'll be charged another $80 to $100 depending on where you live. Okay, so over $300 just for a light bulb. Now, if you're like me, you probably think, well, that's a lot of money, and I could probably do this myself. And you know what? You could. What I did is I went on to Amazon.com, and I put my year, make, and model in, and I was able to come across these bulbs. Now, this is a replacement bulb for the Mercedes Benz S550 2009. Now I got two of these bulbs for less than $60 delivered to my house. Alright, so that is a fraction of what one bulb cost. Now here's the thing, if you're somewhat handy you'll be able to put these in and you shouldn't have too much of an issue. Just have a lot of patience. Okay, long and short of it here is you just want to make sure you get the right color. Now, online you'll see various colors, and after a lot of searching, I come to realize the 5000 color is white, the 6000 is bright white, and the 8000 is bright white with a blue tone to it. So I got the 8000, that was most closely associated with the factory color. So that's what we're going to install. And when you install these, just keep in mind, when you put one in and you replace one, you'll notice that the other is not as clear as the new one. And that's because obviously one is older. So I'm going to replace both of them. So for less than $60, you can pick these up right on Amazon. Anyway, first things first. I want to point this out to you. It's very, very important. Take a look at this. It says 25,000 volts. You want to make sure you disconnect the battery because you do not want to get hit with 25,000 volts. That will straighten your hair out, wake you up, and probably jolt your heart pretty good. So what we're going to do first here is we're just going to take the little cap off the positive terminal of the battery. Alright, and I've already loosened this. Okay. And I believe that's a 10 millimeter. Alright, so I'm going to actually just wiggle this terminal off just a little bit, the positive terminal. So wiggle it up, but before I do that, I've taken a piece of cardboard, okay, and I'm actually going to pull this terminal off here so it's not touching the battery, so it's not going to be juiced. And I'm just going to put it up there so this way it doesn't make contact with anything because I'm not taking any chances with getting hit with 25,000 volts. Alright, the next thing you have to do is you need to go in and see which panel you're going to take off. Alright, now if you take a look, you have this one over here. Alright, all that is just a round disc. Now that is going to be for the infrared lamp. This next one here is going to be for the high lamp. We're not changing that. We're going to obviously get this one that's all tucked in here. I think this is by the power steering fluid here. And it's very, very tight in there. So that we're going to just twist counterclockwise. Remember, lefty loosey, righty tighty. We're going to take that off. It comes off really easy. Okay, well it is a little disc. Okay, take that off. And now you're going to be able to see where the bulb is. Let's put the camera into the engine compartment so you can see this. Now here's where you want to pay attention, okay? Alright, let's see. Alright, you see the housing there? Now it looks like metal wire on either side of the actual bulb. Okay? Oh, let's see. Alright, right in there. Alright, I want you to see those little loops. Those loops are very, very important to see. Okay? Now, what you're going to do, remember, this is for a 2009 S550 Mercedes Benz. Okay? So, you're going to take your finger and you're going to push the loop. Alright, do one at a time, just push the loop. And then push it to the center at the same time. And then what'll happen is they'll literally just pop right out. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to get my finger in there while this camera's in there. So what I'm going to do is just take that, remember, push in, one each. Alright, each do one side at a time. Don't try to do both, just one side at a time. So you're going to do that, push it in, and then push it towards the center, as if you were pinching them. Alright, and then they'll pop right out. I'll show you the finished product in 2 seconds. Phone out of there so I can get my hand in and I can feel it. Alright, push in and then towards the center on one side. I have one out already. In and towards the center. You just hear that little pop. Alright, now I'm going to show you what it looks like. Alright, now you see how the metal wires are to the sides now and they're not there? Now, you see that? Whole housing, that whole thing with a label on it, that is the actual bulb housing, and the bulb is attached to it on the other side. Now, if you look, there's a braided wire that attaches itself to the light bulb. When you pull that bulb out, it's going to all come out at once. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull that out, and then you're going to unplug the bulb. All right, now I'm going to pull the phone out again, and put my hand in there. And just be gentle with this because there is a bulb in there. Alright, and just wiggle it ever so easy. Just be careful because you do have a bulb there and you don't want to break any glass inside the housing. Alright, so it's just a little tricky because there's not really a lot of room in here. Alright, so now what I've done is I pulled the bulb out. Okay, and I'm going to show it to you. Out of the housing. There we go. Just lost my grip on that. Now I have really long fingers, big hands here, so it's a little tricky trying to get in tight spaces. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just show you real quick. Alright, you see that? That's the bulb on the housing. All came out. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull the braided wire plug out. Okay, where is that? And you can feel that also. And just pull it out just a little bit. Just be easy because you do have a bulb there. Okay, now we're just going to pull it right out. I'm going to show that to you right there. Okay, this is the old bulb. Now this one's not blown out, but I'm just replacing it. Okay, now you see that little spot there? That's where the plug goes in. Now a little plug wire sitting right in there. Alright, see that? It's the empty socket there. Now let me just pull the phone back out and there we go. And take this new bulb out. Okay, so this is the new one. You can see there's a little bit of a blue piece on the bulb there, and then we're going to just pop that right in. Now make sure you plug that in and seat it tight, so this way it's set firm in there and it won't wiggle around. Alright, we're going to do that. Okay, once you get that clip in or I should say the bulb, into the actual plug. You want to gently put it back into its place, but just make sure that the whole bulb housing fits nicely where it's supposed to be. Alright, and then you're going to grab a little metal piece. You just got to watch, sometimes that gets tangled with the little wire that is plugged into the bulb, so you got to make sure that goes back around. Alright, just be gentle with the bulb because you do have a piece that hangs outside of the bulb. And I need 2 hands, so I'm going to pause this video. Alright, now that we have that all back in there nice and neat, sometimes you just need 2 hands there to do that. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Alright, you see that? Let's see if we can focus that a little bit better. Alright, you see how it's back in place there? Okay, you just want to make sure you get those 2 pieces looped correctly in there. Alright, so that's back in. Everything's looking nice. All you're going to do is take this little disc here, slide that back down until it gets back to its spot here. Okay, make sure it's set. Alright, remember, lefty loosey, righty tighty, so we're going to turn it to the right so you can't turn it anymore. Good, that's in there nice and snug. Now, alright, what we're going to do is just take the old bulb off. Set that there. Now, before I go in this video and plugging things back in, I want to show you something that's really important. Alright, if you're going to do the driver's side bulb, okay, and you're going to replace this one here, it's a little tricky. Now, what you'd have to do is take this whole housing, which is the windshield washer fluid housing. You need to take this whole thing off. Alright, now how do you do that? Well, you're literally going to do a couple of things here. First, you're going to just pop this whole thing off. Not the blue cap, there's a bigger black one. Pop this off. Okay, now just loosen that real quick. Now follow these 2 right here. There's just 2 little rubber grommets that actually hold the tubes in. And you're going to just pull them. And just as you're doing that, you're going to just push a little piece there. Just a little rubber. Help it out. There you go. There's 1. And there's 2. Okay, so just loosen it up. Now the reason I'm using these gloves, which I just tore through, is just keeps your hands from getting dirty. Alright. So I actually work in a business where I wear a suit every day and I don't want to have old dirt in there. So I just pulled this whole housing out of the tube, out of the windshield washer container, the reservoir. Now, here's the thing I want you to pay attention to. There is a little housing bolt, alright, and that holds this flange in, which in turn holds this whole thing in. Now, you're going to get a wrench and you're going to undo that and put that securely so it doesn't drop somewhere in the engine compartment, and then you're going to wiggle this housing easy, alright, so you get it loose. There are 2 actual pins, so there's actually 2 pieces underneath that housing, okay, and they have rubber grommets at the end, and it's in 2 little holes, so it holds this whole thing steady. Now, when you're using force to pull up, you need to be very, very careful because, and I'm going to tell you why, there is also a lot of electronic pieces onto the windshield washer reservoir. Don't take any of the plugs off, okay? Leave them on. That whole housing will come out without any of those plugs coming off, and you're just going to basically just lay it up here on the engine block. Now, what I want you to be careful of is there's a tube that runs under here, and it goes all the way through, and it feeds your jets that wash your windshield, that squirt the fluid up. Now, there is a piece that is on a pipe that's connected to the reservoir. Now you want to do this where you empty the reservoir. This reservoir should be empty, okay? See this? This is what happens when you yank too hard. You literally break this little piece off, okay? See, this clips right into the little tube because there's a little nipple that this goes into and it attaches itself. Now this piece over here used to be one, all right, and that is into the tube. Well, guess what I did? I yanked on this thing too hard, pulled it out too quick, and I snapped the piece off. Okay, so now I have to go to Mercedes tomorrow and just get that little piece. Now hopefully that shouldn't be $1 million. It probably should be less than 30 bucks, God willing, and then I'll just fix it. Not a problem. But I want you to be careful doing that because I screwed this up. Alright, so remember, you're going to pull this out after you have popped these two aluminum hoses off of the seat right there. Okay, you're going to take this out, undo this little nut here, wiggle this housing out, make sure it's empty. You're going to pull that out slowly, and then what I would recommend is disconnecting that little piece that I broke. All you'd have to do is push this little thing in. Alright, there's a little button there. You just push that in, okay, and then it releases from the actual nipple that's on this container. You pull it out, you lay it there, and you do the same thing we did on the other side, okay? And that's how you do that. Now, let me just put this back in so I can show you the finished product. And what we'll do is we're going to reattach the battery, and we're going to see if we did it right. Right? Put this back in, that back in there, and you would actually screw that nut back on. Okay, now let's take all this nonsense off here. Okay, let's go back and just reattach this battery. Okay, put that on secure, make sure it's seated nice, and then just tighten this up. You're going to have to hold this little nut right back there if you're using a socket. Okay, now you're going to make this pretty snug. Don't over tighten it. You know, some things you just want to not over tighten. This is one of them. Just so it's snug. Pull that off. Put this little cap back on here. Boom, you're done. Now, what I recommend also before you go starting the car is making sure all your tools and parts, whatever it is you have, is clear from the engine. Okay? Now, let's do this. I'm going to close the hood. Okay? And we're going to walk in and start this sucker up and see if it works. Look at that. Alright. Bingo. That's what you want. Just close my garage door so you can see it. Alright. That's a nice blue color. Nice blue color. I changed this one yesterday, and you can see the nice blue color there, and everything works as it's designed. Okay? Well, I hope this video helped, and just be careful putting those bulbs in because they are fragile, and you don't want to break them and cost yourself some more money or hurt yourself or get some glass inside the housing there. But just take time and have some patience, and remember, the way you take it apart, just reverse it to put it back together. Alright, have fun.